Hey y'all, I wanted to come on here and say something that might trigger some people. And I just made a video on triggers. If you get triggered by this, please go watch that video. I'd love for you to watch it. And I'm gonna share my opinion. This is my opinion, and it's meant to uplift and inspire and just start a positive conversation. So I think that science is missing something. Science in this day and age is truly harmful in some ways. And this can be said about so many things, but specifically today we're talking about science. I'm a scientist. I went to university for 5 years, studied science, marine biology. I worked in research. I became a scientific diver. I've been in that area of the world, science, big, broad spectrum. I think that science is definitely missing something, and this is what it's missing. It is missing the aspect of consciousness. Science tries to be so objective with experiments and observational studies. It tries to be so looking at things from a purely physical, material standpoint, trying to not include humans into the equation at all. But that's where it goes wrong, because we are the observers of this entire experience. We are the creators of science. Human bias, human ego programming, human error gets into everything. And that is one of the things that science tries to avoid, but it's something that science needs to integrate. We need to integrate the aspect of consciousness into everything, because our consciousness touches everything in science. It is what allows science to be. And I know that so many people that go into science go in with a wonder for the world. That's why I went into science. I have this absolute awe at this beautiful planet, this life, this existence, nature. How do things work? It is so amazing, and there's so much wonder and beauty and amazement. And science is a way to learn about that. Science is a systemic way to learn about that, and that's so cool. But science has a huge paradigm blindness right now. Mainstream science does, and quantum physics touches on it. Quantum physics is it, I guess. But I don't know enough about the top quantum physicists and what their views are on consciousness and spirituality. So I can't fully say how deep quantum physics has gone into that realm, but that aspect needs to start spilling into the rest of science for it to truly start to have a positive impact instead of a negative one. When I say science has a negative impact, I'm not saying all science. I am saying that there are aspects to science that are detrimental. In my opinion, the aspects of science that are detrimental are: 1, the way that so many sciences completely build off of the theory of the Big Bang Theory, where we go through school, even public school, as young children, and then university, college. In the majority of science classes, we are operating on Big Bang Theory, where this was all an accident and nothing created this, and this is all happening accidentally, and materialism rules because it was all accidental And then the material world gave birth to consciousness. This is where it's detrimental. We need to start asking, what if it's the other way around? What if consciousness gave birth to the material world? That is such a huge assumption that is underlying so much of science that, one, it absolutely kind of kills the wonder of it all. Yeah, with the Big Bang Theory, you can be like, okay, what was before the Big Bang, before this accidentally all happened? There can still be some wonder there, but the way that it's taught, there isn't much wonder there. And that's, I feel like, the core of science. That's the core of life, is just like this wonderful mystery. Science is trying to figure it out, which is so fun and so cool and so amazing. But mainstream science and universities aren't teaching it in a way that promotes that wonder. They're teaching it in a way that kind of crushes it out of you. Or it can and has the ability. Anything does. But that's where science truly goes wrong, in my opinion. Science goes wrong by not including consciousness in the equation, because consciousness is literally everything. If you weren't conscious, if you weren't consciously aware right now, there was no awareness, there would be no science, there would be no nothing. And with that consciousness that it is not including, there's another aspect where we're going to run up against a wall over and over and over with science if we don't include that aspect of consciousness, because it's there with everything. That aspect of consciousness, that aspect of your consciousness affecting your reality, the observer effect, the what is it, like when a scientist observes a wave or a particle, depends on who's observing it, what shows up. That is science showing that, yes, our consciousness affects our reality. One sec, there's a car coming. I think until we can have this conversation without there being a huge stigma, a huge instant judgment, a huge deflection, until we can have this conversation about consciousness potentially being the creation of reality, I think that science is not going to progress as swiftly, as beautifully as it could and as it should, because science is a beautiful thing. It's an amazing it's an amazing thing, and I'm not denying it, and I love science. It's so cool that there's people that want to learn about this universe, this world that we live in. I'm one of those people. It's fascinating, it's mind-blowing, it's wild, this life. But until we can, as scientists and as people who have been through the education system, until we can address this topic without that stigma, without the like, oh, it's woo-woo or crazy or spiritual or whatever, without that stigma, judgment getting in the way, I think we are not living up to our fullest potential in that realm of science. I would love to know your thoughts on this. If this triggered you, I would love for you to ask, like, take a deep breath and ask, like, why do I feel so invested in this? Why is this upsetting me? And if you get the answer to that, then ask yourself again, why? Why am I upset about this as a potential idea? Because that is how we grow. That is how we break through that paradigm blindness, is by looking at all aspects, all possibilities. And so thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. I would love to have a conversation about this with you. Another thing is spirituality, consciousness is not something, the experience of pure consciousness, the experience of presence, pure awareness, the spiritual journey is not something that anyone else can do for you. And so I think that is another important factor to bring in. As scientists, as a group, there's only so much you can do, but you also have to work on yourself on an individual level. So, thank you so much. I gotta go.